So we got December 3rd, Economic Development Committee. I have a quorum. Haven't met in a while. It's cookies.
I'm all set.
I said, go get rid of some of them. I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. So what's going on since we have to talk about the REIT project. So actually, we have a visitor here. She's just observing for her class. She wants to observe an economic meeting. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I went to Neshoba Regional. Been in this town my whole life. So
Yeah,
it's
cool.
great to finally be in a meeting of some sort. So.
Yeah, yeah. So this meeting, so with the Economic Development Committee, but we focus, I would say that we more like operate like a chamber of commerce, if you want to, like, you know, more of like, you know, connecting the businesses in town to the people who live here in the region. You know, so we're not like really dealing with, you know, minute financial details, but more of, you know, how can businesses thrive in the town? And how do we connect them to people?
Awesome.
So anyway, so the REIT project, which is a way to connect businesses to town by having them sponsor a REIT and put it up on a pole. Kind of behind schedule a little bit, but I think we're going now, and we have the flyer out, and
yeah, we've had a good response.
Yeah.
So there's an updated ledger in your packet. The ones in black I've received checks for. The ones in red they've made a commitment, but I haven't received the money.
I forgot my
Rick.
check. I forgot
No
my,
worries.
I forgot. First. I'll get it in, don't worry about it. I'm not really worried about it. I'm rushing out of the house today.
We know
so.
where you live. It's okay.
Exactly.
For sure.
yeah.
So we're really in pretty good shape in terms of, you know, sponsorship.
Andy Benison didn't sponsor anything here? No,
How many REITs did we have last year?
So we typically order 40, we need
Okay.
40. So that's been the challenge this year. So I called Bolton Orchard because of the wet season. Wreaths are in short supply, particularly the larger ones. So Bolton Orchard's keeping 5 to 20, the 28-inch wreath that we typically get. They can get us the 24-inch diameter, so that's an option. I've been calling Wilson Farms. I finally got a hold of them today. They just got a shipment in of the 28-inch wreath. They're a little more expensive. It would be probably around $600 to go with them to get the wreath and the bows, the 8-loop bow.
So that's for the 28-inch?
But the problem with that is they won't just invoice us. Like if I were to, like today, he was like, oh, you better reserve it tonight, or he's like, they're probably gonna be gone by tomorrow. And I'm like, well, I'd really like to talk to the EDC tonight about it. And I'm like, well, all right. I'm like, just put me down for the 40 wreaths. And then he was like, well, you need to pay tonight too. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to put that on my credit card. I'm like, let me talk to the board.
Yeah.
Just in case something falls through and we don't end up doing this, I'm like, I don't want to be stuck with $600. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone knows of another location.
That's fine. So what size was that again?
That was
So
30
Wilson Farm
or
can do the
28.
28, what we typically do.
Okay. And they attached those?
Yeah, and
bows?
their price was $55 per bundle. You get 6 wreaths in a bundle, so we'd end up getting 7 bundles. That's $385. It's really the bows that are really expensive, so maybe we decide to do something else for the bows. Their 8-loop bow is $5.60 per bow.
So what we did last year too, or?
Well, Bolton Orchards, we went through
you-
Bolton Orchards and it was reasonable. So I don't know, he didn't give me like the breakdown cost for
Right,
each,
yeah.
but I mean, that alone is almost as much as
The reefs.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
$224.
I'm like, maybe we should save the reefs every year.
Save the bows, yeah.
Save the bows, yeah, exactly. I mean, they cost so much, you might as well just save it, what's
Like
that,
that.
yeah.
I know, Michael's or something like that.
That's what I am like, God, could we just make the bows
Yeah.
with some ribbon? I'm like, geez Louise, that seems so expensive to
You
me,
maybe
but.
could.
Can we just get the reefs there and then get the bows over locally here?
We could try, I could call Bolton Orchards and see if they could just.
I mean, whatever makes more
don't know.
sense
maybe
from
they
a
could-
cost standpoint.
Have you talked to
I'm-
Lancaster
I mean,
Gardens?
No. Okay.
And they're wonderful.
Lancaster Gardens.
Yeah.
It's been a little hectic, I'll call them tomorrow.
Well, so Wilson wasn't even gonna commit those, right, unless we had the money to.
Exactly.
So they might even have them tomorrow.
Yeah,
Kind of.
and they just had gotten them in, and he said already the shipment that they had gone, 3/4 of it was gone.
Wow.
So I guess there's just a shortage everywhere.
Wow.
So we could always go with the 24-inch, and we have to do something because we have all these
I completely
Businesses
agree
are
with that
already
statement.
committed.
Yeah.
That are excited about it, so
What do we do with the excess, like, amount that we have?
it just stays in the fund.
Okay.
So actually, we just used $800 of it to go towards the brackets for the Hometown Heroes.
And that
thing.
looks really good.
It looks
Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah.
I love it.
Now we're gonna get businesses to sponsor those brackets for themselves, and that's next spring, I think that
Well,
should be an
they're
effort
there.
of ours to
I
actually.
mean, they're there, so.
Yeah, and they look great, and then you have like Bolton Bean do one, and local couple realty companies in town.
You know, it would be great, because I think that the people that live on Main Street don't want them up all year round, but what we could do, maybe like during small business week or day or whatever
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is, we could kind of schedule it around that and say, it's,
Yeah.
small business.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Shop locally, and then have the banners up.
Or
or-
maybe
Yeah,
weeks
that would
of-
be cool.
Weeks of like, holidays like 4th of July, Veterans Day,
Yeah.
Memorial Day.
So they're gonna have theirs up from
But it looks great.
Memorial Day
because-
to Veterans Day. I forget what they said, something like that.
Oh, okay.
So we'd be like.
So all through winter, they're gonna have it up, I don't even know.
I forget when, but they were gonna have them up for a while, but I don't
Okay.
think it was all year long.
Okay,
But if there's gonna be some downtime, we can figure out something to do with it.
yeah.
Yeah, but it looks fantastic.
It looks
It
wonderful.
definitely steps up the town a little bit, so.
And maybe the smaller wreath, now that I think about it, might look nicer if we've got a flag and then.
Yeah, because it's already overloaded already.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was actually driving down Main Street, I was wondering about that, like how the wreaths would look with the
Yeah,
banners.
I agree, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe the smaller ones are better. I don't know.
I'm fine with either.
And
I
it's
mean,
cheaper and.
You know, they like, the whole idea of this wreath effort is to raise money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the 24 inches and the bows are gonna be a lot cheaper, well, we raise more money in theory, so I think we should just go that route.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily the thing is to raise money, it's to,
Well, yes, it is.
yeah. Not really,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
because.
It's to decorate Main Street,
It's to
that's how I
decorate
always
Main
look
Street,
at it.
yeah.
And
Anyway.
businesses love the way it looks, I
Yeah.
get so many people that have,
Yeah, people like
committed
it.
every year, and they're like.
But I did think
"Love
about
it."
it, how crowded it would look with the banners and everything, but maybe a smaller one, kind of more decorating the banner would be better, instead of overpowering it. Because will it be below them?
It'll be below.
It'll be below,
Yeah.
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 And we need to figure out how we're gonna get them installed, because it
Because
sounds like Mark's not.
Just not
available.
around, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounded good. Would DB, who?
I could
Mark's been
call
doing it.
DPW tomorrow and
Yeah.
see if they could do it. I don't particularly, I remember that when we used to do it, it was painful.
Yeah, it was miserable.
With a ladder.
Yeah, we had the ladder and just every single pole.
Take your chance of getting hit by a car. Yes. I love playing chicken.
So yeah, it looks like we're doing good for the money. How much, so what's this number, this 171, that's what's in the fund right now?
No, right now we have $551.
Oh, okay, because
Because I did take the 800 out. This is not the best ledger, I'm sorry, but this is just.
No,
the way
no,
I
it's
did
good,
it.
I should write that down. So the 551 includes the money we received this year?
No, I don't know. I have to look at that formula,
The
I'm not sure.
360,
Uh,
17,
It's like the
11.
360 is the total.
Oh, yeah, that
days
doesn't
in it.
work, does it?
It doesn't work. Something's screwy. I'll do
That's
it.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I think once you collect from everybody, we'll have plenty of money.
360 is what we've taken in.
Yeah. Yeah, so you said it was 385 plus whatever the voters cost, so four or
So it's the
500.
551 plus
So
the
we've almost
360, I
paid
think is.
Yeah, yeah.
where we're at.
We always have extra, but it's good that we can.
We got 27 spoken for.
We've
so
got
far.
plenty for the wreaths, even if
Yeah.
no one else donated
Yeah.
at this point, we'd be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Cool, so we just have to, so you're gonna contact DPW?
Yeah, and what do you want me to do with the wreaths? Do you want me to try and get the larger ones, or do you want to go
Maybe,
the 24 inch?
maybe just because to prevent it from looking too crowded, we should go 24 and see how it looks.
It's easier, because then they'll just invoice me and I can pay it that
And
way.
exactly, I
Right.
think that's, we gotta go simple.
Yeah, you don't want it to look like,
And also, this is an easier route, they just invoice us and that's it.
Yeah, and then I just pay it, and they know we pay it.
And it's
yeah.
local,
It's local.
yeah.
yeah, do that.
Okay. Hopefully they still have the 24 inch, that was last week. So if they don't, then do you still want me to go with the 24 inch somewhere else?
Sure.
Okay.
Unless we want to do 24 where the banners are and then 28 where,
Let's not overthink it.
yeah, that's fine. Okay,
I noticed, it's funny, the solar light, I noticed it wasn't on either.
yeah. It's been about a month or two.
Do you think it's from when they actually, the actual cutting back of the trees over there and stuff?
Well, so are we done with the wreath project? Nothing else to talk
Yeah.
about?
No, just scheduling, so I guess I'll send you an email when we have that.
Okay. All right.
Should we shoot for a date?
So I'd like to, so, I don't know, I mean.
So I can let DPW know?
Like,
If
I
they
mean,
end
as soon
up,
as possible, really.
so when would we have time to get together and connect the
Oh.
posts?
I can do that this weekend, I mean, I'm around with our kids.
You wanna do it on the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, unless we had to do it during I can do it one night during the week too.
Whatever works for you guys.
Yeah.
I may or may not be there.
And DPW is a Monday through Friday operation, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we do it Saturday.
So, say one Monday?
Weekend, then we could hand them over on the Monday, and
Yeah.
they could just.
Okay,
Do it
so this
whenever.
is Monday, okay.
Yeah.
Mark does buy the tiebacks, he,
Shoot.
yeah, so if we can ask Mark to get those,
Okay.
he typically donates them every year.
Yeah, I would be happy to stop by his office
Yeah,
and pick them up
yeah,
if you wanted to
yeah.
donate them.
All right. So welcome sign update. The solar light is out, but the guy who installed them is gonna be looking into it.
Okay.
Um,
I happened to notice that probably like a couple of weeks ago, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know what happened. Maintenance fee, everybody's paid up? and
We're good.
We're good.
Well, actually, I think I need to send it out again.
Yeah, it's been a year.
It took a while to get them.
Yeah.
It feels like I just went through that process.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we'll have to do that again.
Yeah,
so
send
now-
out a letter to them.
Yeah.
I assume everybody who's on there wants to stay on there.
Yeah, everyone wants this stuff.
Yeah. I know we talked about at the last meeting, talking about to Long Hill Farm or another farm or something to see if they wanted to get on the open farm slot.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Want me to email? So with Long Hill Farm, some of the smaller farms, but.
Sure.
I don't know if they want-
are just up and running,
Yeah.
but.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, I don't think they've been in business all that long,
No,
have they?
no. I don't know, I mean, they're probably too small to want that. But just trying to fill the open spot.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. So Amy had the name of somebody who would, was it Amy or you? I think Amy sent me an email. Somebody was interested in potentially maintaining the ground around.
Yeah, Amy had mentioned that, you are right, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, they asked about like what size sign that they could put on, and I said pretty much like a political size sign.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as long as it's attractive, yeah.
right, it's not some like flashing
Yeah, yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Or-
Like those Dunkin' Donuts banners that fly out of the Dunkin' Donuts, which I know exactly.
Yeah.
A quick question, on a side note, they have finished, it looks like Dunkin' Donuts down the street over at Country Cover. Are they gonna finish the other side of the building, or was that never part of the plan?
What do you mean the other side of the building?
Well, one side of the building is actually, looks really nice,
Yeah.
Oh, you
remodel
mean-
exterior wise, and the other side looks like it did 30 years ago.
Like, wait, you
like
know the
garbage.
dry cleaners?
Yeah, yeah, they didn't do any of the other side, they just did one spot in the building. Was that the
They-
plan
they
all
talked
along?
about-
Yeah, the plan is to redo the entire building, I just don't
Okay.
think they've.
They had some like,
Okay.
they were gonna put an overhang.
Yeah, an overhang and correct the walkway so it was ADA accessible, and no, there was a
Okay.
lot of work. that they
Okay,
were
and I know they
doing.
tore down that house next door to it the other day too.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're waiting, because maybe they're doing that in conjunction, I don't know yet.
Yeah, yeah, I was just curious,
But,
like, did they run out of money, or was that the plan all along?
yeah.
The social media and articles update. I've been slacking on articles, I don't know. I haven't, everybody's been busy and holidays and stuff, so.
I know we had talked about maybe changing the destination Bolton site address.
Yeah.
We had talked about that, and I mean, what do you think we should do? I don't think we need to do any research on it. I mean, if you just want to do destinationbolton.com,
Instead of the MA?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Lisa said she could do that.
Yeah,
Just
we
let
should
her
probably do
know.
that.
So are we fine with that? I can just let her know? I'll CC
Yeah.
you on the email?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. We should probably do that just to make it easier.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we have it, yeah, so we have to update the brochure then probably, I think, because we have that.
Yeah, and I'm actually working on those edits right now too. I'm gonna
Yeah,
send over to
cool.
Maria the other, they're almost all ready to go. I mean, we don't have a lot of edits in the brochure anyway,
Yeah,
but I'll send it over to her. I already gave her a heads up that I was gonna be sending over changes.
But
But-
we keep the MA too and just have it point to this
Oh, yeah,
address,
yeah.
right? So if you,
Yeah,
yeah, so if we have it
yeah.
somewhere else, it'll
I
point.
mean,
to
it'll be destinationbolton.com.
yeah, but, no, but she's saying that we
If
can have two
we have the old
aliases.
address, yeah.
It'll still point
to it,
over, yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't gone to print yet, so we're all set.
Yeah, good.
I'll send out a list of ideas for stories, if anybody wants to write anything, because it's been a couple months since we've had something written.
I think people are just buried with.
No, yeah, I've
work.
been buried. Yeah,
It's fall, it gets darker earlier,
Yeah.
so the days feel
Yeah.
short, much shorter.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Kids are back in school.
Darkness, depression.
Yeah, it kinda is, right?
Yeah.
I just wanna go to bed when I get home.
Yeah. I've been pretty busy with planning board as well, so. But I'll send out a list of.
And we got the grant for the brochure too, which is great.
No,
It says the second print needed, grant request, oh, you.
Requested.
Requested, okay. We
So
put it in
actually-
early enough though, which is good.
well, so on that, they're rethinking their thing, if they're gonna, give grants or not for that, so we don't
Okay.
necessarily have it,
Okay.
yeah, so.
Raise the
unfortunately.
prices on the wreaths.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't siphon money that way.
Well, we talked about, from a print standpoint, we'd do 2,000 this time around instead of
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah, because we burned
I don't
through
think
those
it
pretty
was
fast.
much, I don't think it's gonna be much more of a cost difference, maybe like $100 or $150 more anyway.
I think
Because the larger we went in terms of print, I mean,
Yeah,
the price came down drastically in theory,
We
so-
did use those up pretty fast.
We did.
How much did it cost last time? Do you remember?
It's like $220 for 1,000.
Yeah, and we blew through them very
Yeah.
quick. We started earlier in the season, which we were supposed to do anyway the first time around anyway, so it just
Yeah.
makes sense we go to more this year.
Yeah, they get handed out really fast. I mean,
Yeah.
during harvest season, I would go to Neatswitz and Shartner a couple of times, and every time I went, they were gone, so.
Yeah.
So you did the brochure update, going through this. So we do need the printing. So I sent just at like 5 o'clock to people's email. 2 years ago, I wrote up a thing on the sewer district. I know we talked about this. We talked about this at the last meeting. Let me see if I can just find my email. I sent out. And how it would, a big thing slowing down any type of development in Bolton Office Park or in the Kane property is, the infrastructure. So as along, we're gonna be opening up the master plan for the town and, looking at public infrastructure. It would be a huge game changer for any type of business.
But there'd be a lot of like pushback on it too.
Oh, there would be a huge pushback.
See, that's where I get concerned with this town, is if we positioned it the way, in theory, the way I think we should, is like, well, there are a lot of towns, a lot of homes that sit on this street that are all,
Yeah.
their Title Vs are
Well,
failing.
and so,
And what better way to actually solve their problem is to put a sewer line right through the street. That's all we say.
yeah.
We don't say anything else.
Yeah, well,
I mean, meanwhile, in the back of our heads, we know exactly what we're gonna do.
So,
They'll say, "Why?"
so if you look at, it was kind of like a proposal to the Board of Selectmen that I sent out. And it was to go from Harvard Road up to the Bolton Office Park, but not including it, just to get all the residences and hit these small businesses here. And to just utilize the capacity available on our current system. So our current system can handle 40,000 gallons per day. We only use like 15,000. But really, when you look at Title V, I think it's probably allotted, a lot more is allotted for the schools and stuff. Even though we're only using 15,000, maybe Title V is saying you need 30,000. So you can't reallocate what's been allotted. So anyway, this document that I sent out kind of highlights all the areas for what we would need for a sewer district. So the first thing we would need is just a study of the current system. And maybe this is like definitely a super long-term plan, so maybe the first thing that gets looked at is just what the current system can handle. Then you wanna look at, depending on your zone, what you need. So going from, and Erica did these numbers out a couple of years ago, going from Harvard to Bolton Office Park, each bedroom requires a certain gallon and then.
110 gallons a day.
Okay, yeah, so she did the math out and I forget what I think we needed 20,000,
Yeah.
something like that. So we were saying, well, at the 20,000, it's only 15,000 we're using, so it would fit in the current system, but
Right.
it's not really.
But
how it
long-term
works.
plan wise, it
Yeah,
doesn't,
yeah.
does
Yeah.
that really make sense?
Yeah,
Probably
right.
not, probably should
Yeah,
be more.
yeah. But so Bolton Office Park came, at our business meeting, I think this came up, is they want to redevelop that, potentially even so they have the 2 office buildings, they potentially want to get rid of one, or they would like to redo the whole thing. But the problem is they're only allowed 10,000 gallons for that property. And, and they looked into like splitting it up, but, DEP, the state DEP said, it doesn't matter if you split it up into different zones, you're still the owner, so you're still only allotted 10,000 gallons without their own sewage treatment system. So they came to me and they were like, is there anything the town can do to get sewer through here? Is there any way that we can combine up the other offices in the area, some type of system? So they're definitely keen on, redeveloping the whole thing, but it's just without public infrastructure, it's just not really
Or
workable.
we keep kicking the can down the road and
Right.
never addressing it.
Right, so what you were saying with the residences, and, many of them are having issues.
They're not gonna be able to
You can
sell
drive
it.
by and
Huh?
see it. I mean, in the summer you could see it, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
all
right.
The work that was being done and stuff for some of the
Oh,
properties.
right, yeah, I mean, like, this house on the other side of the common, I think,
Oh, yeah,
I think the people had to sell because putting in a new system was gonna be so expensive. It was an older person, Bonzoli.
There's the Bonzoli part.
Yeah, I mean, they had to move pretty much because of that issue. Because people need to have tight tanks and
Yeah.
that whole thing. And that's the whole problem with the 2 business properties we have there is that, well, parking as well, but especially the one next to the common, there would be parking behind the common, but you can't really do any restaurant, you can't do anything, you can't even serve a glass of water because of the infrastructure issues. And now you have the office park that wants something. And, we've updated the business bylaws to go from 8% to 20%, but still, if you want to build anything,
You can't.
you can't.
Yeah. I guess we're just still in the planning phase, but what is the long term, we have to get it at some point done, right? It just makes sense.
Long-term plans, I mean,
It'd be the,
it's not
for
addressed.
everyone that lives on the street, it'd be for the betterment for all of them. That's
Yeah.
key, first and foremost, that we need to make sure they understand.
Is there
You
any-
mentioned Harvard had done.
Yeah, Harvard
something
did
recently.
this exactly.
So, I mean, it would be great if we could get in contact with
Yeah.
maybe anyone involved with that
Yeah.
to see what
Yeah.
what did they do, what were some of the issues they ran
Yeah.
through, how did they propose it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost
So-
a mirror.
so I did
what's the
talk to
pay-
them.
And what's the cost for, obviously. we need to
What they
And
did
what businesses
financially,
have moved in maybe.
and I think I had this in that document, I forget if I got into this level of detail, but, so they charged every house in the zone a betterment fee. So I think it was like $18,000.
We got that too.
So, whether you want it or not, whether you're gonna tie or not, you got charged that. So, people on Main Street, even though it would approve it, will potentially have issue with that because, all of a sudden they have this charge. But
We had that happen in our house in the Cape. It was a $15,000 fee to connect our house.
the
to
thing
that.
is, it really does
Whether you-
improve
That's a
it.
hookup fee,
Yeah,
that's not the
yeah.
betterment.
Right.
No, that's-
There's always a betterment and there's always.
It's a hookup.
Right, there's the 2.
And then Harvard had a hookup, whereas if you did it in the first 2 years, it was some price, and then if you chose not to do it, it would be more expensive, when you chose to do it, or you could choose not to do it, but you
They
still have
gave us the
benefit.
option to do it too.
Yeah.
I just connected it, which seems
Right.
simpler and easier.
Yeah, right.
Unless I was off the Title V.
Um,
So.
Unfortunately with that, so you have these betterment fees and stuff coming in, but the town does have to front the money. So, maybe you're talking a million, 2 million, I don't know what it would be. But so, like you were saying, in town, the way this town typically works is the political party is Main Street versus not Main Street. And so everybody not on Main Street be like, well, why do I have to pay for theirs? You know, that's the exact thing that's gonna be said. You know, if my sewage system fails, nobody's gonna come pay for me. That's the exact.
Actually,
that's why
you bring up a very good point, you are right.
Pitch isn't just for the residents,
Yeah.
it's for the business.
Yeah.
If you say it's for the residents, we need to
You're
help
totally
them,
right,
people are gonna
yeah.
go, why do I need to help
Yeah,
them?
why do I need to help
I think
them?
that whole
Right.
district thing that the office park wants to do, like a little shopping area over there would be fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, we
Right.
need more of
Well,
that in
so-
town.
So that's how you have to sell it, it's bettering the town as a whole.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
626 is a great example of what a development should look like.
Now, when 626 is lucky, we had like,
We had a
you
lot.
know, this amazing owner, and he put in
Yeah.
$250,000, he built his own sewage treatment plant
Mhm.
for like 250,000.
Would he be a
Yeah.
little
No,
bit peeved, but if this went through in, you know,
Well,
5 or 7
it's too
years,
little too
he's like,
late,
you
It's
know.
so long away.
Next phase.
Yeah, it's so long
Yeah, it's probably
away.
like 5, 6, 7 years away.
Yeah, well, probably even longer than that. I mean, this is a long, you know, so just the last master plan probably doesn't even talk about public infrastructure, or if it does,
I don't think so.
you know, so this master plan should, you know, for sure. And, you know, so take a look at the document I sent out, you know, so that's one step. Look at what we currently have, look at what we need. Can we add on to the current system? Do we have to add a whole new system just for the businesses? You know, how many gallons would we need per day for that system, you know? So just looking at that stuff is huge. But then there's the, it becomes a sewer district, so you need a sewer commission. You need an entity, you know, probably a sewer commissioner, somebody the town hires to manage this.
And manage a facility, yeah.
Yeah, well, manage this facility, but also the political aspect of it, of having a zone, having, you know, managing the money coming in, going out, you know, it's a whole new position in the town, so. And then also, you have to go through the state and create a sewer district, you know, so it's a big, huge thing. You know, minus, you know, convincing people in town to pony up $1 million, $2 million ahead, saying, well, you know, you give them the financials down the line, maybe it is cost neutral, you know, maybe the money coming in, the yearly money coming in costs the money going out, but we do have to front the money. So it's a gigantic task, and that's why 2 years ago I kind of was like, ugh, you know, I just kind of. But one thing we could do if we want as the EDC, and I think a good thing to do is to just, where it was left with the board of selectmen was, you know, go off and create a charter. You know, tell us what you want a committee to do, give a list of things for the committee to do, and then we'll decide to create it. So if we want to take a small bite, just saying, let's study what's currently there and what we would need for, whether we call this Zone A, you know, Harvard Road to Bolton Manor. What is there? What's it rated for? Can it be, you know, does the design allow for expansion? You know, so can you just add more tanks and pumps and, you know, it's a cheaper, and, you know, so if we create a committee to do that and then try to get staffed up, you know, maybe that is the first step, kind of just a study group. So, you know, if the board thinks it's worthwhile to get that going, I don't think we would do it, we don't have the expertise here. It would be good to have somebody from the EDC on there, you know, you seem interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
So if you wanted to, I would go in with you, but if you wanted to get, you know, create this study group, we would have to just write up a charter. A charter is just a paragraph or two, basically saying, how many people would be on the committee, what types of, you know, people do you want, somebody from the Board of Health, somebody, you know, somebody from Main Street, somebody from not Main Street, you know, that type of thing, and what would they be looking at? A clear list of items that they would be looking at, and, you know, the Board of Selectmen would approve it or not.
yeah,
You know?
I think I mean, making people understand that it would be a process, but
Yeah.
if we're ever gonna really make that type of impact and be able to grow the town,
Yeah.
that people, you know, a lot of people,
Yeah.
I think, especially new incoming families that are moving.
They want
like-
more.
Yeah, so I mean, if
We're
you're gonna
gonna
do that,
number for sure.
you're not gonna do it with the current infrastructure in place,
Yeah.
there's just no way. You
Yeah.
might get some nice little, you know.
You get a shop here.
Right, here or there,
Yeah.
but then we've seen people leave and move on because it's just.
Yeah, it's not
it's
viable.
not- Right, so.
There's no like walking downtown.
I don't think it'll ever, it's never
I
gonna be
don't-
like,
no.
you know, huts or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
we're
just
not gonna get to walk up.
But like,
No,
but like,
no.
with, you know, you go down to Harvard, and you go to some of the other towns, I mean, it could be more than
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna get that
Yeah.
unless you have some type of.
Well, the other thing
public
is
sewer.
just to figure out what has to be done to take care of what we've got right now.
Yeah,
Because there are houses here who are gonna be in trouble,
yeah,
and there's no place to put a new septic system.
yeah.
A lot of them already, I mean, you also
And the
look
water
at
table's so high in
values
this
there.
town in general.
Well, so what they're installing is tight
It's very
tanks.
high.
Right, and that is really
Yeah,
not the way.
it costs about 1,000 a month to empty it, so it's a 10,000 a year cost.
There's
You know.
also environmental dangers.
10.
You know, like there's
So
a
if
lot less
18,000,
provision
you're like,
For something to go wrong.
Sure,
You
it
pay
pays
that
for
a year and a
itself
half.
for
Yeah.
I didn't know. So like, right, I mean, that's a good sell for those that would be like, okay, well, if it's 18 or 20,000 or whatever to pay, well, if you're
Yeah.
paying
Yeah.
$10,000 a year
Yeah.
anyway, then
Yeah.
at least you're gonna recoup
I
that in
mean,
a year and a half.
yeah, so, I mean, this will be a huge hot button issue, because not only we have the
Yeah.
Main Street versus not Main Street, but then you'll have the development versus not development type, you know, people, so it'll be a huge discussion point. Um,
I was mentioning, you guys were kind of discussing about something else, but I think another aspect of it that we don't think about too much is the environmental aspect. So, you know, these people
Yeah.
that have that aren't Title V, they must be leaching somewhat.
Oh,
into the environment.
all their systems are failing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so, I was either at the board.
There's water
Oh,
right
I
back there.
know.
There was, you know, underneath the old garage that they tore down for the common, there used to be, there was an
There's
underground
sewer.
river going
Yeah.
under it. Well, there still is an underground river
Yeah.
going through it. And when they tested on the other side of the common, they tested for like E. coli and all kinds of bacteria leaching out of people's septic.
Right.
You know,
So I
so
don't-
going
I
under
don't
a nice,
people-
going under a nice new common, there's
Yeah, I don't think
like,
people think about that, but I'm sure there are people who are concerned about the environment in town and, you know,
Right.
basically we're
Well,
allowing
that's a really good
pollution to
point,
occur.
yeah.
So-
cause, yeah, a lot of, they were just.
So there's also a health aspect that we need to think about too, not
Not
only.
even health, environment, you know,
Yeah.
health is one thing, environment is like.
Yeah, another one too.
But it's good, it's
All the,
whatever you
They're
can use,
related,
you can
yeah.
use it.
Yeah, another
You
thing
want
we
your
could-
kids crawling around,
Exactly.
you know, it's
Yeah.
just another,
Yeah.
it's another selling point.
well, right, but yeah, if it's not probably like all the phosphates and the detergents and everything
Yeah, that's not, I'm
dumping,
not even thinking about that, yeah.
Yeah, you're totally right about that too,
Yeah.
yeah.
dumping into the wetlands around,
Right,
all around.
yeah.
Don't forget about the frogs, the tree frogs.
The salamanders.
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 Yes,
But
always
very
look for that
important.
day when it
But
comes.
we had a big tree hugger in this office for a while, she's not here anymore, but, yeah, for our development, I forget the woman's name.
For your development.
Yeah, she worked for the town, but she was all over our development about the salamanders.
Oh, the salamanders.
Yeah.
I just saw a couple of those, the guys the other day, who moved a planter. They're so cool.
What's that?
I said, I'm a fan of the salamanders.
They're big,
Spotted
though,
ones,
right?
huh?
They're big.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like the mascot for the sewer commission.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
salamander.
I saw a couple, they were really cool. But a shout out to macroeconomics for our guest in the back there. I mean, this is a huge issue because we're talking about like upfront costs, but you know, speaking about the residential tax base, which subsequently goes to the agricultural, you know, tax base, and everybody wants to keep all our farms and everything, but if the residential tax base keeps going up because we have no business, that means the farms taxes go up, and when, you know, these people can't manage the land and it goes to their kids and they have this, inherited this huge tax bill, you know, they're gonna sell the land. And
Yeah,
it's gonna
they are.
become Tadmore, it's gonna become Keys Farm, it's gonna become Century Mill,
Yeah.
because that's the only the way our infrastructure is and our bylaws are, the only viable development is the subdivision. It's-
Right.
You know, that's the only thing that we, as a town, we've created this, you know, landscape where the only viable thing to build is a house farm. You know, so, you know, if you don't want the taxes to, if you want, you know, we could get a nice development in Keene property, which is to the east of 495, in Bolton Office Park, which is to the west, and Frida's across the street, and bring in, even if we could shift, because right now we're like 96 or 7% residential tax base. Even if we could shift it to 93 or 94, that would make a big difference, you know?
What's going on with environmental pools?
Yeah, it's funny, over the summer, they came in and were asking questions about the special permit process, because they need to get a special permit
Right,
to
right.
operate that use. And they said they were gonna prepare everything and get it in,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
haven't heard anything.
Yeah, it's funny, I met with the guy.
I think they've been really busy
Because we're putting in a
also.
pool at our house, so
Okay.
we had actually met with him, but he seemed
Yeah.
like he's really busy.
He's really, I think that's really.
Yeah, and
it's
it was
more
his
than
father's
anything.
business for years, and he just recently took it over.
Oh,
You know,
okay,
so
see,
that-
I've been talking to
yeah.
the father, so.
Yeah, so
he's been
I think
busy.
he's just trying to get his arms around everything. I think he's just really overloaded.
Eventually,
Yeah,
they're good
okay.
guys.
So
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
happy.
seems it, yeah.
So just to wrap up on the sewer district, so is that something, you would wanna pursue?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
could work on
is
you with the
there,
charter.
is there like a timeline, like for like the master plan and stuff, that like this would need to be built in, or has that not been established yet?
I mean, we're just talking about kicking off the master plan, it's gonna take multiple years, the master
Alright,
plan.
so then there's enough time where it's not like, alright, in the next like few months. we
Right,
can,
no, yeah, we don't have to do that, but
Yeah.
if you do wanna kick off like a study, I know that Mark Spriggs said, talked to, he used to be, he's on the planning board now, but he was a selectman, and I think he used to be board of health, so he said he'd be interested in.
Yeah, if you
Look
can
into
give
that.
me, I guess, a list of contacts on,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
would be best to
Yeah.
kind of move forward with, that I can.
I mean, on the
start that
grand
process.
scale plan thing, I think it's an amazing thing that, we could do and push, but
Yeah.
it's just such a big.
You know, my
it's
one
such a
worry
big boulder
is
to
like
push.
you push it and then it gets to the town and then it's like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
nobody wants this, sorry.
Yeah.
you
I
know.
think,
That's my
I think by the
biggest
time
fear.
it gets to the town, I think everyone's gonna be, I think it's gonna probably get passed, because there are a lot of people in this town, myself included, that are new, that want more stuff here, just as long as it's thoughtful from a commercial standpoint.
I think
Yeah.
that, and the tax, being able to sell on the tax, I mean, people hate their taxes, they hate paying it, and they
Yeah,
hate
I feel
the
that.
biggest complaint you get from that side is families moving in, they're just adding to the schools, and I have to pay for them, like being able to show that we're trying to bring in business as well, and
Yeah.
the environmental
Yeah.
factor,
Yeah.
I think that if you can tie in enough of every kind of subgroup, you
Yeah.
get enough support,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
It's worth at least pursuing.
I definitely thought so, and so, I just sent that out at like 5, take a look at that document, it kinda shows what I was just talking about. But, yeah, we could work on a charter and go before the selectmen and see if a committee will be created, so we can do that.
Sean, I'd be healthy, they could be willing to chat.
Yeah,
I
any help.
spend a lot of time talking about septic systems, so.
Yeah, and I don't have, it's not like I have a ton of
I know more than I
experience.
ever thought I would.
Yeah, it's more of just, it seems like there's a strong need for it, and
Yeah.
even if it's worth at least pursuing.
I think in general, a lot of, like you were saying, a lot of people think it's a good idea and stuff, but it's such a big ball to get rolling that
Yeah.
even I started it, and I kinda like just took a step back from it, cause I was like, I
In
can't do this now.
Harvard, it took years.
Yeah.
In Harvard,
Yeah, I don't think it
to
would.
get it, to get it done and implemented.
And actually, I mean,
Going.
cost-wise, I get into this in the document a little bit, but Lancaster just put in, either Lancaster or Sterling just put in public sewer, but because it was gonna bring in a business that was gonna bring in a couple hundred jobs, they got a huge Mass Works, or one of those.
It was Lancaster, I think.
Oh, Lancaster.
Lancaster's, yeah, they're doing it in different areas of town.
But they got a huge grant because it was gonna bring in, it was gonna create jobs, so they got a huge grant for it. So, I mean, there's
I was
definitely,
gonna ask, yeah, if there's.
there's definitely a lot of money in there.
grants that
And-
could be
yeah.
pursued.
Yeah, I mean, if you're creating jobs, not like, over here at 713 Main, creating 2 jobs, but if Bolton Office Park is gonna redevelop and
That'd be
create
huge.
hundreds of jobs, not hundreds of jobs, but create a bunch of, I mean, what did you, they show us, did they just show me? I forget. I saw a plan for Bolton Office Park.
They showed us.
Oh, we sat together here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they showed multiple pads with, different small retail.
Do they show
a couple of
elevations and
restaurants.
stuff too, or?
What?
No,
No,
they
okay.
weren't to that level. It was-
Would you
it was
need strong
there.
commitments from them to be getting grants though? Is it- Not just, oh
Probably.
yeah, we wanna do this, it's like.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's much more than that.
Yeah, it's like, actually, they would probably have to sponsor it.
Mm.
I think that's what happened with Lancaster, is that business sponsored.
They wanted to do the engineering.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you're ready to do construction, and so it's like they can see that you're committed, you're gonna go through with this one way or the other,
Mhm.
then you apply for the grant funding.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah. Speaking of grants in 117, the town got 950,000
Yeah, a strap grant to do the intersection at Aquatic, which is also a Mass Works.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit of this? So, just how that economically impacts the town. We've heard from Paragon, we've heard from all the businesses east of 495. I'm always thinking, I always have to turn myself around. East of 495, whenever they leave work, they can't even get to the highway. It takes them a half an hour to get to the highway, and that hurts their business. It hurts Cobham trying to sell the business because the realtors in the area know that
It backs up.
It backs
And
up.
it backs all the way up, all the way this way.
Yeah.
I mean, I go get my mail in the morning, it takes me 25 minutes to get back to the highway.
Yeah.
Minimum 20.
Yeah. So, Wattaquatic, and I'm pretty sure the issue is Wattaquatic. All it takes is one person wanting to turn left, and then backs the entire
Right.
road up.
Right.
I remember like 10 years ago when they used to have voting here, the town hall. I worked in Waltham at the time. It would back up to like Sudbury, 117, because Bolton was. It would back like on voting day. It would take like 3 hours to get home.
Oh, my Lord.
It would back up all the way down 117.
The Wattaquatic, is it right over here? Or?
Mhm.
So it's that left that pretty much stalls everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they got 950,000 to redevelop it.
Okay, that's great.
And also,
Yeah.
so
For-
what's the timeline on that, and how does?
Timeline, I haven't talked to DPW about that, but they're looking at making it a signalized intersection, so a turning lane, possibly a light.
Oh,
Left-hand turn.
Actual
Yeah.
turn, so that'd
So
be
by
great.
doing that, that may also require truck exclusion, because a large,
what?
big, like a large truck trying to make that turn probably wouldn't be able
Oh,
to make
yeah,
that turn.
yeah.
Once you divvy it up into 2 lanes. So that would bring up about the truck exclusion, and then figuring out an alternate route for trucks, but again, that will also, should improve, traffic flow.
Right,
So
right, yeah, okay.
that's basically all I know about the
What?
design. Like,
That's
what
great
they're- what
that,
they're
it's great
looking
that we
at.
got that money though, that's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
That's
So is
that's
there
gonna
like-
change.
Is there some type of expiration to the money or something?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll use it, I'm sure.
But so, who goes about designing that then?
We're gonna hire an engineering firm to do it. So when we were putting together the application for the grant, we had used Beta Group. It's a very large engineering firm. They were basically doing it pro bono, so more than likely the work will go to them. I don't know
Right.
for sure,
Yeah,
but
yeah, gotcha.
so they'll be the ones that actually, do the analysis and figure out exactly what would work.
So fixing that intersection will be huge.
Oh,
Oh, my
yeah,
gosh,
it's-
yeah.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
We also noticed the town hall, we're finally fixing the,
The portico.
I mean,
Yes.
I've been looking at that for years. I thought, with all the money they collected in taxes and our town hall's falling
Falling
apart,
apart,
I'm like,
yeah.
are you kidding me?
But it was very challenging finding someone that would even do the work.
Really?
Yeah, I think the first time I don't know if this is the second time. At any rate, this time we only received one bid. I mean, no, we just couldn't seem to find anyone that,
What do they have to do? They have to like pull it off and,
I don't really know, I think it's a full restoration
It's the whole
project,
column, so I think it's more
I
about
know,
storage.
I don't think they're pulling it off, I think they're repairing it as they go. I
Yeah,
don't really
they'll
know.
probably put new pieces up, but it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this building on the National Register or no?
I assume so.
Assume it is, so
but I don't-
and if it is, they have all those guidelines they have to go by. And that's probably, there's probably very few of those type of companies out
I
there
think that's
nowadays.
part of it too, it's,
It is.
probably a niche thing.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I'm glad to see it, glad it's gonna done that.
any new business news or anything?
Let's see, I told what I've received lately for home occupations, I have to send them the welcome to Bolton letter, I haven't done that yet. We have Wicklow Wood Recycling, on Von Hill Road, that's actually a pre-existing, non-conforming business location. So they're just a wood recycling company. I think they're primarily using their
In-home
property
business?
for like housing construction equipment more than
Right.
anything. We have another construction company called Linth Construction on Chase Street.
So these are all just like in-home type?
Yeah, these are just in-home occupations. Culkin's Construction Company on Teal Road, and again, it's more because they need a business certificate and a place of business, but for construction companies, obviously it's mostly off-site. And then, Fiddler's Green Farm, so a new farm on Green Road,
Just a small farm.
just a small farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 470 Main Street, they burned down the house.
Yeah.
I talked to Jane Hood, and she said that they don't have a timeline for building, new building, but the
Okay.
first step was just getting rid of what's there.
Mhm.
But
That's the building next to Country Cupboard.
right,
Yeah.
so, but they do have, they got a special permit for a two-tenant building. That will, its kind of main entrance will be facing Country Cupboard, and their thought was to have like, you know, kind of like, you drive in and you can go to either building.
But no time frame on starting that.
No.
Let's get the other building finished first.
Yeah. So there was, had been discussion about that was gonna be a restaurant? somewhere?
Yeah, though they, they were thinking a restaurant and a retail,
Mhm.
it was a two-tenant type building, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, now that we went to 20%, I don't know if that would change anything, but the designs are done, so probably
Yeah,
not.
I know.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, she didn't say she wasn't doing it, they just didn't have a timeline on when they were starting it.
Right, right.
Yeah. So that'll be good. I don't really know about much too else.
Over the
business-wise.
summer, we had a lot of interest in actually marijuana for the Cobham building, but I don't know where that's gonna lead to, if anyone's gonna submit an
Yeah.
application at some point, but
Yeah.
that was on the table.
Great
Bush
use
Mill
of this
Road,
space.
Yeah.
the liquor store, that sold.
Which
Um,
one?
The liquor store
Yeah.
on
Oh,
Fort
okay.
Bush, that Frank Chiodo bought that.
Oh,
So
really?
Chiodo Excavation, yeah. I'm gonna call him and just kind of.
So both, he bought both, the whole building, right?
Yep, so he's gonna look to, I spoke to Duncan Chapman is it Keller Williams he works for? He came in.
Yeah, yeah,
the meetings.
yeah.
So I spoke to him today, we've kind of been playing phone tag, I talked to him today. I guess he's like been clearing some of the,
Oh, did you finally find out what that was for?
yeah, so I guess he wants to do like a parking area. For some-
Frank does?
Yeah, for some of his construction equipment, so I'm gonna call Frank and find out more about how he wants to use the property and whether or not he needs any permits for what he wants to do. And then, I think he does plan to lease parts of that building out, like they do now. And then Duncan did kind of just follow up, he's still interested in that commercial property that we carved out from Tadmore,
Mhm.
and kind of coupling that with the DPW building.
Yeah, he was interested with that.
So he's still interested in that, so he's gonna try and contact the owners of the commercial property to see if that's something they would wanna kinda.
Coupling, so, I mean, he talked about getting that corner lot from the town and in payment for, so do you know?
I remember this
Do
conversation.
you know what the
we had.
DPW?
Yeah.
So in payment for
Like a
getting that
swap.
land, helping build a DPW on other.
Right,
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
viable
land.
lands, yeah.
I
Like-
can't imagine the town, he basically wants some confirmation that the town's interested in doing that, I can't
Yeah.
imagine that we wouldn't be.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But I'll follow
And
up
also
with like
just frees up
Don
that
Lowe
property over there, because it's a little more.
Yeah,
zone.
and anytime we can get
Yeah.
a free building.
Yeah.
You feel up.
Well, I mean, it makes,
Ding, 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 ding.
I mean, you know, whatever, 50 years ago, fine that it was there, but
It's right there.
That corner,
Yeah,
because, so the Tadmore property, which is the new development, you know, before you get to Forbush Mill Road, part of it was business owned, so the planning board carved out the business part and put all the residential there. So there's a business lot that goes around the DPW. There's the Dagnall liquor store, but then also there's Classic Pizza. So that whole intersection could potentially be developed as a little mini business zone, you know? And if you redevelop the whole thing, then you could get proper ingress and egress and parking and, you know, try to make it safe so it's not like this free-for-all coming out of
Yeah,
Classic
like it is
Pizza.
now,
Yeah,
Yeah, the intersection is so much work.
yeah.
well, I do like the fact we do have all that new signage up though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's made a good impact.
But, so that's another area where, I don't know that we can get infrastructure down there, but, you know,
At
to
some-
to redevelop.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Complete Streets thing going on for infrastructure as far as roads. Are you guys familiar with that at all?
Yeah, yeah.
Just with
Yeah,
like.
she hoped.
Okay, so
yeah.
you're aware, but just that idea that, like, I don't know if anyone's popped up and put that on the map, but I haven't looked on there, but.
Oh, yeah, the high school intersection's definitely on that.
Yeah, that's a key intersection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a free-for-all. It's like
Yes.
you're taking a leap of
Hail
faith sometimes
Mary,
when you
yeah.
pull out of there too, you're like.
Well, so as,
I think it's slowing down for me.
as part of the Tadmore
Yeah.
development, we got them to build, we got them to build a meandering walkway to the corner, right? That's what we ended up at?
I can't remember now, was it to the corner or just to the, it must be to the corner,
To the
not the
corner.
commercial property,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah, to the corner.
Yes, because
Yeah.
they had to do an easement over the commercial
Yeah.
property,
Yeah. So, where was I going with this? So, just walkways to get there, and then, getting walkways or whatever across, just that whole area needs to be redone.
Yeah, it does.
But, we were thinking of if there's gonna be new residences there and stuff, trying to get walkways and to make it safe.
Do we have a time frame of the possible swap of land for that new building, or no?
No, no.
It's just
It's a great idea, though.
Yeah.
No, it's something that he would work with the owners of the commercial property, try to work out some kind of thing.
Because that's a great
Yeah.
corner for a business,
Yeah.
especially if you can get the DPW out of the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
If he can find the right developer to come in and want to do something like that, then.
yeah.
So Duncan's working with Frank.
No, I don't know. I don't know how that worked out, because he didn't seem to know that much about it, but he just knew that it had been sold, and it had been sold in his database. He had that it was sold to Frank.
Oh, okay.
So that was it.
So
He hadn't
Duncan's just
actually-
working with potentially somebody for the lot.
Well, he's not really working with anybody at this
Oh.
point. He would like to. That's why
Oh,
he
okay, I got
basically
it.
got back in contact with me.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's another different area, that we can, if the planning board could do anything to rejigger it.
I think you already did.
Huh?
I think you already did.
Yeah,
so.
well, yeah, we did that, but
Yeah.
just if there's anything we can do with the DPW part of it, or, I don't know how all the lots work out with Classic Pizza, and then there's that, well, you have Classic Pizza, then you have that one random apartment house
Yeah, behind it?
behind it,
Mhm.
and then,
Yeah.
but then you have the post office and the spa
Mhm.
and stuff, so that whole
Yeah.
area. So is that apartment residentially zoned, or is it business zoned?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, you have all these weird lots there. I don't know what it looks like, and if there's anything we can do.
I don't know if that's on one lot
Yeah.
or if that's two lots.
Yeah.
I don't get the map of that, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever, long range thing. Is that it for new business? Any updates on current business? Cobham update, Cobham, you just had the medical marijuana.
Yeah, interest.
Yeah, they had so all the interest they were talking about was just the marijuana type stuff. Yeah, those guys were here, they were just wondering if, our bylaws, if they would be able to have it there, right?
Right,
Yeah,
Yeah.
which we said yes.
right.
That's it. Oh. Anything else from anybody?
I have maybe a question that I've heard other people asking about, is the gas station that has been closed for a month.
Oh, yeah,
Do we know
I
what's going on with
spoke
that?
to,
David
Oh,
Keaton.
David
Went
came
down
about
here,
that.
really?
Yeah,
So they have plans. He was,
yeah. I
he didn't
saw
tell
it.
me a lot because they're not ready to present it to the town,
Yeah.
but
Is it the
You
same plans
mentioned
I
that a while ago,
saw?
they had some potential
yeah,
things going
so
on
he's,
Is it-
he has something in the works.
Is it the
so-
same plans that I saw that were on
Probably,
Leaf?
that would be my
Yeah.
guess, but I don't know
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
Be an upgrade.
Yeah,
so he
definitely.
plans to do a new gas station.
Oh, that's cool, because I
Yeah.
think people are like,
Yeah.
wow, is it closing, or,
Yeah.
there's not gonna be.
So
It'd be a
pretty
great
much,
upgrade.
pretty much he leases it,
Yeah.
I think his current thing is he just leases it out to people.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that person,
He no
He-
longer, nobody's in there right now.
yeah, so
Nobody
he,
told me.
he stopped leasing it to make for the future, okay.
He was very excited, but he wouldn't give me any details.
I mean, so if it's.
As long as he's
if-
excited.
if it's-
Yeah, that's a
if-
good
If it's
sign,
the same
right?
details he showed me, it looked really nice. So.
Do we remember who the potential business,
I assume it's global.
It's global.
Partners.
Global
It was
Partners,
global,
yeah.
but so Global does the truck stop at
Extra.
190.
No,
But-
extra, I don't know what they do.
Yeah, but they have a more rural plan, which is, they showed me the store, it's not just like a box, it has like a peaked roof and, it looks nice, it's kind of River Bridge-ish in Berlin looking. they would have a canopy over the gas, but they like raised it up and angled it, so it looked not as
Like a
industrial.
regular one, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so, but they also raised it up so you could see the building, because the building was nicer. Inside the building would be, they have like a proprietary type food. It wouldn't be like a Subway or something, but they do have like,
Hot dogs or.
no, like even higher than that, like a sandwich, like a deli counter
Okay,
type
okay,
of thing.
all right.
And they were talking about, he was talking about like outdoor patio seating. So,
Okay.
I mean, he was talking about like a little market.
Okay.
A little market with like a deli, thing.
So, interesting, what kind of septic system do they have?
Well, they have nothing, they'd have to put in
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
They have, whatever's there, I'm sure wouldn't be able to handle
No,
that.
it's likely not, yeah.
Some issues they had was, I think, there's like a history between all those lots of the owners, and there's a couple of, I think there's at least one, if not two, defensive wells, kind of near.
And what's a defensive
What's a
well?
defensive well?
Yeah, what does that mean?
There's like a well that he was worried about right next to their lot line, so it would prevent them from putting a septic in.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Oh, that's already there.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So,
interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so they're worried about, the other thing they were worried about is, and which we're gonna fix hopefully this year, is the residential versus, the business zone was kind of arbitrarily made. If you look over here, it's the,
Yeah.
The section,
it's right here. It's
Yeah.
see this? They just said so many feet from 117 and so many feet from 495, but that lot is actually straddling that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It goes right down the middle of residential and commercial. And if it was just a ZBA, a zoning board appeal, and they were just renovating the building, it would be fine, but the fact that they completely wanted to redevelop, they can't build any part of their thing on the residentially zoned part.
But
But
they-
the line goes right down the middle of their lot.
Hmm.
So, they'd have to like squeeze it over to one side and it wouldn't work for what
can
they
they still
wanted.
put a parking lot on one side if they reconfigured the building? I mean, parking
It
lot would be
wouldn't
considered a
work,
structure.
but anyway, so the planning board does have a bylaw, for this spring's town meeting, where we're gonna fix those type of issues. We're gonna reset, that was just, like a blind, here's the business zone.
Right, yeah, didn't.
But now we're locking the business zone into lot lines.
Which would make sense.
So, some people will gain all business and some would, I think we still have to go talk to all the owners.
We do have to do that, yeah.
Yeah, talk to all the owners and say, we're adjusting this, but that'll make it more viable. And the other thing we did last year is, the plan he showed me is, your business had to be 150 feet from the road. So we had this, it was like way off the road with like, where the parking was and stuff. But with it only having to be 50 feet, now they can move it forward. And also, I don't know if the 8% versus 20% was gonna be an issue, but I think it was, but now we're 20%, so. So once we fix those lot lines. The other thing the planning board is gonna do to help businesses and for these developments that we talked about is, right now on each lot, you're only allowed one building. So really our zoning, so say, Office Park can have 30,000 or 40,000 square feet, same thing with Kane's, 30, 40,000 square feet. It has to be one building. So the only thing you can create is a giant strip mall. You can't create like
Individual building.
individual buildings, like small pads.
Which could actually be a.
More attractive.
More attractive, much more of like a street, a small town vibe, yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be on this year's town meeting as well.
Yeah.
Is to allow multiple
Yeah, that makes sense.
buildings on non-residential lots, right?
Mhm.
So we're doing both those things, so I think both those things will help out businesses and the potential. But anyway, if the plans he showed me last year is what he's talking about, I think, it's a nice looking gas station. It's a gas station, some people aren't very excited about it, but
I'm sure it'll be an
It's gonna be
upgrade from what it looks
Yeah,
like now,
yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see
Revenue.
Country
Yeah,
Cover being
yeah.
renovated, but when they
Yeah.
only did one side, because first impressions are everything, and that
Yeah.
building essentially was not very attractive.
Yeah.
They just did one side. I'm
And
like,
I
okay,
mean,
what about the rest?
the road
And
gets-
actually, just the front of the building is done. The sides,
Yeah.
nothing is done.
Oh, I
That
mean,
where you're just
there-
half of the building in front.
There are other issues, we only allow 20,000 gallons worth of tank, and they want like 40,000, and if you were to have,
This is the gas station?
yeah, they would want 40,000, which they said they could do it with 20, but then talking about fill-ups every other day. So you have like, you
Oh,
know,
this is the-
you have the
oh,
big tanker
tanks
coming
coming
in,
in.
so we don't have that by law going forward, you know, right now.
Is it a deal breaker for them to like?
I don't think so.
Deliveries late at night, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly, like, you know, that's.
You just
that's-
have more
That's what
often
they do.
deliveries.
Yeah, yeah, like, or very early in the morning, between like 5 and 7 AM, you know? No
I
one's
don't, it
really
doesn't
around
sound like,
anyway.
it doesn't sound like a deal breaker, it sounds like, it sounds just like, you know, we'd have to put up more deliveries, you know, more trucks coming in. And, I know they showed before having like an 18-wheeler, a high-speed diesel pump, but he didn't show that on this plan. And I said, I don't think that, you know, we don't want that.
Right.
Yeah, because that just brings all the trucks off 495. And
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
kill-
and that would really kill
Yeah.
that intersection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's already bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's make it
and that
worse.
would also cut into their capacity. if
Yeah.
they had to have-
Yeah.
And also turnaround lane,
Yeah.
Yeah.
really difficult.
Well, so what they showed is they'd have to have, you know, a big loop around the building,
Right.
you know, to come,
Oh,
18-wheelers
right,
coming in and out, so.
yeah.
which means
So, I
they have
mean,
a smaller building.
you know, I can't speak for the rest of the planning board, but I wouldn't be for that. You know,
Yeah.
It just doesn't work out
Yeah.
for that, you know, traffic-wise, and, I mean, if you've ever been to that River Bridge gas on the Rotary in Berlin, I mean, that's kind of
Yeah,
what you would
nice.
want. You know, it fits in, it's not some industrial-looking thing, and that's kind of what I saw in the plans, so. If that's what they're going forward with, that would be great.
Yeah.
I think that's all we have to talk about. I'll send out a list of stories. What else did we say we had to do? So Reese,
Reeds.
what, did you need anything from us, or what?
Well, we
So-
just put it together.
Huh? Oh, yeah, to put it together.
So we're talking this weekend, I
Yeah,
guess.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
okay.
can volunteer my garage if you want to meet at my house to do it, and Mark can't do it, because Mark's garage is heated, mine is not. So that was the luxury of Mark's,
Yeah,
mine
it's
is
supposed
much
to be
nicer.
Well, so I guess let's find out
If DPW can hang them on Monday.
if DPW can hang them or not. Let's find out if, whatever Reese we get, if they come with builders or not. If they don't come with builders, then, you know, we'll have to do it, and then,
Yeah, every year we had to do them ourselves, so.
Yeah.
so we'll figure out where to do that. So we just
Yeah.
need a few people, and then I hope we don't have to personally hang them, because it took us like, what, 3 or 4 hours?
I only did it that one year and
Yeah.
it was, I wasn't even strong enough to zip tie it tight, so
Yeah.
I was useless.
Your husband was good help.
Yeah, he was, thank God I brought my
He's tall,
husband.
right?
And he was tall, or is tall.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get somebody to do that. So Reese, what else? I'll send out a list of stories if anybody wants to do anything. I've continually been sharing stories and stuff. I'll work on the sewer stuff with you and Glenn.
I'll work with Gloria on, Maria on the update for the brochure.
Yeah,
So who printed it last time?
Bolton Printing.
both are printed.
Yeah, Scott, I was gonna put in my.
They've done it both times. They did
Yeah,
great.
we use them, we love them.
Yeah, he's just a really good, he's local,
Yeah.
you know, he doesn't do a lot of advertising himself, he just,
No.
I think, you know,
I think it's mostly,
I
I think
offered
it's all
to-
word of mouth.
well, I
Yeah,
offered-
it really is.
I was like, oh, I'll advertise for you. He's like, no, I'm all set. Yeah.
He's a nice man.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need any.
I have
But
no work.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
don't need more.
You call him up and you tell him what you need, and he goes, okay, well, it'll be this and this and this, and I can do it by here.
Yeah, he was
That
just,
work for
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah.
Great.
And, you know,
Nice.
if there's ever any initiative anybody's passionate about or they want to do, oh, I know Scott,
Well, I think,
you talked about
I think
creating
this
a
one was really good.
format where people could businesses could enter in
Their rent info.
news, yeah, rent info or
Right.
news or something like that.
Yep.
You know, we talked about for vacancies, but also that same format would be good for if we were to you wanted to post anything or enter in events, you know, any
Right.
way to share, like, an easy format for people to share information, for us to share. Like, so, if, you know, I guess they can do email, but I don't know.
No, I can still take a stab at that. There's probably an
Yeah.
easier way to
Yeah.
do it than email.
Yeah.
If I can help with that. I'll send you the minutes from tonight too.
Yeah, so I sent out the minutes, but I guess we could just approve them next time for the last meeting. I sent them out like an hour ago.
Oh, I didn't print them, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine, it's like last minute. But Scott, nice enough did it, so. I guess just review this one and I'll get this one out sooner, we can approve them
Right.
next time. And then what's the process to getting those online? Because I know on the planning
You
board.
just have to post it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why? Is
Well,
there-
on planning board, it's just,
Oh,
there's
EDC's
none
not
from.
updated? I'll-
Well, planning board doesn't have any from 2018 that I saw. I went to the meeting minutes section and it was like,
I'll take a look and see what I've, sorry,
Yeah.
that always is my last
No,
priority. I'll take a look and see.
I'm not like. you know,
People read
just-
those though.
Huh.
I read them.
Yeah, I mean, I would love actually, you're working with the town website, I think like the agenda, you should be able to click on that meeting, even if it's a past meeting, and pull up the meeting minutes and everything, you know, I think that would flow better than having to go find the meeting minutes tab on the side and stuff.
You could do that. You
Yeah.
could create, yeah, I mean, I can set it up however. I mean, I just keep it that format because every every
That's
town's
fine, yeah,
department is set up that way.
yeah.
Where you have separate links for the meeting
Yeah.
minutes and
Yeah,
the
agendas,
agendas.
yeah.
But I could still do it that way, but then just after the fact, make the agenda a link itself. So that way,
Yeah.
or something in the agenda, a link.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
To pop you over to the
Yeah,
minutes.
because, yeah, people do look at meetings sometimes.
When I moved into town, I read all the town meeting minutes, because then you kind of know like what are the issues,
What's
what are
going on,
people
yeah.
worried about, and what's happened before, so it's really
Yeah.
informative.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the only one though.
No, I try to keep up. I think that's it.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All in favor, aye? All right, good, thank you.
Hey,